Top story, U.S. Senator David Vitter is in Northeast Louisiana today to talk about long-term plans for the state.
The Republican senator and gubernatorial candidate spoke to the Monroe Chamber of Commerce. He says the way to move the state forward is through long-term, across-the-board solutions. Vitter says long-term plans must be made to improve education, improve the state budget, and improve infrastructure in Monroe. Senator Vitter is traveling the state on his listening tour. Meanwhile, he took time out of his busy day to join us on the set tonight.
Good evening, Senator, and thank you for joining us.
Great to be here. Thanks for the invite.
Wonderful. Well, we wanted to ask you, first of all, you said something about long-term, across-the-board solutions. Tell us what you're talking about now.
Well, I'm really talking about our big challenge, medium and long-term, I think, is education, both K through 12 and higher education. There are a lot of other things we have to pay attention to, economic development, job creation, and the tax environment and the budget. But I think the big challenge, longer term, is fundamentally improving education, really demanding excellence, giving our kids the tools they need to live their dreams and hopefully live them right here in Louisiana.
Oh, absolutely.
All right, Senator, what do you think about the governor's budget cuts, and who do you see as being most affected?
Yeah, well, I'm studying the budget right now in preparation in particular for running for governor next year. You know, the good news this year is compared to the last several years, the budget is more whole and there aren't as significant cuts, but it's still been several very, very tough budget years, and I'm studying the details. I think one thing we need to look at in the next few years is real spending reform and tax reform to create a more stable environment, to avoid some of the big downs and cuts that we've seen in the last few years. That's in particular has buffeted higher education.
This is an unusual question, but how do you explain Harry Reid's efforts to keep amendments from being voted on? Explain that.
That's really been frustrating in the U.S. Senate. You know, traditionally, the U.S. Senate is supposed to have been the place of open debate and open amendments where any senator could really come to the floor to represent his constituents. Harry Reid has really cut down that spirit and that tradition, really cut down amendment opportunities, and it's just a shame. He's changed some of the rules. He's put new practices in place. I hope we get back to an open process where anyone, they're elected by their constituents, whatever their constituents are saying, whatever their point of view, we should have an open debate and a real free amendment opportunity process.
All right, Senator, of course you're running for governor. So what do you see, or what would you do as governor to bring more jobs to Northeast Louisiana?
Well, in fact, I met after my chamber visit, I met with the North Louisiana Economic Partnership about exactly that, listening to their initiatives to bring jobs here and what I could do in that role. I certainly want to be fully supportive. One thing Governor Jindal has done effectively is really use enhancements and incentives to get particular jobs located here. I think we need to keep that flexibility. At the same time, I think we need to look at things across the board, changes that would make Louisiana more attractive for job creators. Look at our tax code with that in mind. Also, I think one negative in terms of our business environment has been our litigation climate and the threat of frivolous lawsuits, costly lawsuits on job creators. We score rather low in that regard nationwide. I think we need to look at that.
We don't have much time left, but I wanted to ask you about infrastructure. You spoke about infrastructure in Monroe. Tell us about that. What do you have in mind?
One of my key roles in the Senate is being the top-ranking Republican on the Infrastructure Committee. So right now we're finalizing a bill on water infrastructure, Corps of Engineers projects, levee lifts, levee reconstruction, very important for the Ouachita, among other places. And then as soon as we finish that, we're going to be doing a highway bill, the next highway and road transportation bill. And we're looking at all of the major projects here to move them forward. Kansas, Garrett Connector, all of those important things that have been progressing.
Very nice. All right. Senator Vitter, thank you so much for joining us. Have a nice day. It's a beautiful day outside.